Hi, good morning and thanks for tuning into the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television. Lots making news this Monday morning. Let us start with the headlines. Gold Coast Games suggest India as a rising power in sports. Several new sports icons came to the fore. Women put in a good show as India end their campaign with 66 medals in their third most successful Commonwealth Games so far. Prime Minister to embark on a 5-day visit to Sweden, UK and Germany today. Focus on preventing extremism during Prime Minister's first Commonwealth Heads of Government meet of 52 nations in London. To also attend the first ever India-Nordic Summit in Stockholm. "44 districts in the country no longer under Maoist influence," says government. Left-wing extremism now confined only to 30 worst-hit districts. Home Ministry says a strategy involving security and development measures have shrunk Naxal violence in the last 4 years. Congress releases a first list of 218 candidates for Karnataka elections. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah to contest from Chamundeshwari. BJP Central Election Committee meets to finalize the remaining list of candidates for 12th of May polls. And border challenges with China and Pakistan to be among key focus at the 6-day Army Commanders Conference in Delhi. Review of regional security architecture and ways to speed infrastructure development along China border to be done. Our top story this morning, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will proceed on a 5-day visit to Sweden, UK and Germany today. The visit aims at enhancing bilateral cooperation in key areas like trade, investments and science and technology. On the first leg of his visit, the Prime Minister will attend the first ever India-Nordic Summit in Stockholm, which is being co-hosted by India and Sweden. Prime Minister Modi will also hold bilateral discussions with his Swedish counterpart as well as the leaders of Nordic countries. While in London, Prime Minister Modi will take part in the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting being hosted by the UK. He will also hold bilateral discussions with the British Prime Minister Theresa May during the visit. And on his way back, the Prime Minister will have a brief stopover in Berlin on 20th of April, where he is scheduled to meet German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and British Prime Minister Theresa May will have a summit meeting on 18th of April, that is a day before the 25th Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in London. It will be the Prime Minister's first visit to the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, where the major theme this year would be preventing violent extremism. Here are all the details.
The 25th Commonwealth Heads of Government meet at CHOGM will take place on 19th and 20th April in London. The theme is the common future of member countries. Heads of governments will decide whether CHOGM can be developed as a new trade and cooperation bloc on the lines of ASEAN. The idea, mooted by British Prime Minister Theresa May, will be discussed in both formal and informal meetings. The conglomeration of 52 nations has almost 2.5 billion people. The trade is projected to reach $1 trillion by the year 2020.
It has a very strong international voice, particularly on developing country issues and particularly the developing issues that impact small states and small island states in the Pacific, in the Caribbean, in the Indian Ocean. Over the years, it has also acquired some capacity to render assistance to these countries. And it is this dimension of the Commonwealth, its focus and specialization on the development issues that impact small island states, small states, that is of particular interest to India.
To discuss the future of CHOGM, India and UK will have a bilateral summit on 18th April. More than a dozen agreements are expected to be signed after a meeting related to trade, investment, scientific and technological cooperation. Both countries will also discuss issues related to education, especially on easing visa for students and mutual recognition of degrees of both countries.
What you will be seeing in this visit is something called as the living bridge that we will be talking about. The second one will be a lot of tech focus. Tech focus because we are looking at the 21st century. We are looking at new areas of engagement between the two countries, whether it's big data, whether it is artificial intelligence, whether it is healthcare, whether it is the concept of digitization and how do we apply it to various spheres of activity, whether it's healthcare, where we see a lot of partnerships going on.
India is the fourth largest investor and second largest job creator in United Kingdom. UK has invested almost $25 billion in India. Both countries will hope to see that the cooperation makes a positive impact on CHOGM nations.
After Brexit, CHOGM has become very important for United Kingdom. And India being the largest country in the Commonwealth, it will be interesting to see that how much importance is being given to India in the development and cooperation among the Commonwealth countries. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with camera person Junaid in Delhi.
And before his London visit, Prime Minister Modi will visit Stockholm, where he will take part in the first ever summit with Nordic nations, including Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Finland and Iceland. Now, among these nations, Norway has the highest investment in India from its pension fund.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will reach Stockholm on April 16 for summit meetings with all heads of governments of the 5 Nordic countries the next day. Cooperation on technology, investment and defence will be the part of main agenda. India needs the cooperation of Nordic nations in the United Nations and other international fora.
For India, Nordic countries are potential source for clean technology, environmental solution, port modernization, cold chain, skill development, innovation, etc. They could be our ideal partner for many flagship programs.
Prime Minister Modi will also have separate meeting with Swedish King. India is working to strengthen Sweden's role as a key partner for India, especially in innovation and defence. Sweden has expertise in making defence equipments. Nearly 25,000 Indians live in Sweden and over 170 Swedish companies have invested $1.4 billion since 2000. Around 70 Indian companies have invested in Sweden. India-Sweden annual bilateral trade stands at around $1.8 billion. Indo-Nordic trade stood at $5.3 billion in the year 2016-17 with cumulative FDI to India at $2.5 billion. In Stockholm, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also meet the Indian diaspora.
Akhilesh Suman, Rajya Sabha TV.
On to some other news, Finance Minister Arun Jaitly took oath on Sunday as the member of the Rajya Sabha for a new 6-year term. Jaitly was administered the oath of office in the chamber of Rajya Sabha Chairperson M. Venkaiah Naidu. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Anand Kumar, his deputy Vijay Goyal, Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad, HRD Minister Prakash Javadekar, Railways Minister Piyush Goyal, Urban Development Minister Hardeep Singh Puri and MOS Finance Shiv Pratap Shukla were present during the swearing-in. Leader of the opposition, Ghulam Nabi Azad, was also present. Elected to the Rajya Sabha from Uttar Pradesh last month, a special swearing-in ceremony was done because of the finance minister's health condition, who has been working from home after being diagnosed with a kidney-related issue. Now, following his re-election to the upper house, Jaitly was also appointed as the leader of the Rajya Sabha.
मैं अरुण जेटली जो राज्यसभा का सदस्य निर्वाचित हुआ हूं, ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि मैं विधि द्वारा स्थापित भारत के संविधान के प्रति सच्ची श्रद्धा और निष्ठा रखूंगा। मैं भारत की प्रभुता और अखंडता अक्षुण्ण रखूंगा तथा जिस पद को मैं ग्रहण करने वाला हूं, उसके कर्तव्यों का श्रद्धापूर्वक निर्वहन करूंगा।
Now on to news from poll-bound Karnataka. The Congress party has announced its first list of 218 candidates for the 224-member Karnataka Assembly polls. Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, who has been contesting from the Varuna constituency since 2008, will contest from Chamundeshwara constituency in Mysore. And State Party Chief G. Parameshwara will contest from Koratagere. Almost all the sitting MLAs have been given tickets and the name of the candidates were finalized by the Central Election Committee of the party yesterday. Remember, election to the state will be held on 12th of May and the results will be declared on 15th of May. Meanwhile, the BJP's Central Election Committee, comprising Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Party Chief Amit Shah, held a meeting to finalize the party's candidate for the 12th of May Karnataka Assembly polls on Sunday. The BJP had declared its first list of 72 candidates on 8th of April. The top brass of the party is believed to have discussed probables for the remaining seats in the 224-member assembly. The BJP is seeking to come back to power in the state, dislodging the Congress party. H.D. Devagowda-led JDS is the third major player in the contest. News from Andhra Pradesh, and a statewide bandh has been called in Andhra Pradesh today by several groups fighting for special category status for the state. Several opposition parties have also backed this call. The bandh has been called by the Andhra Pradesh Pratyahoda Sadhana Samiti and the opposition parties such as the YSR Congress as well as Congress and the left parties have extended support to the shutdown call, but the ruling TDP has opposed it. Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu said that bandhs were not welcome as they hamper development of the state. On to the other top story of the day. In a significant indicator of the shrinking arc of the influence of left-wing extremists in the country, the government has removed 44 districts from the list of 126 Naxalism-hit districts of the country. The revised list of districts affected by Maoist violence and activity was approved by the Union Home Ministry as a part of its redrawn security-related expenditure. The number of worst affected districts has also gone down from 35 to 30, with the 3 districts in Jharkhand and 2 districts in Bihar no longer in the list. The new list of LWE hit areas now includes 90 districts, of which only 58 had violences in the past year, spread across 11 states. Now, under the SRE scheme, the centre reimburses security-related expenditure incurred by the states on transportation, communication, hiring of vehicles, stipend to surrendered Maoists and construction of infrastructure, etc. in left-wing extremism-affected areas. And on to the government's ambitious Ayushman Bharat scheme. Not only did the scheme get its first health centre, it is also getting another boost, with the Niti Aayog announcing plans to partner the government in building the Infotech platform. Now, this will help in conducting paperless and cashless transactions and also put in place a grievance redressal mechanism.
The scheme to provide health insurance to 10 crore poor and vulnerable families through the Ayushman Bharat has taken a step forward. The Niti Aayog will partner the government in making an Infotech platform that will help in conducting paperless and cashless transactions along with a grievance redressal mechanism.
So the idea of health and wellness centers is to give a comprehensive care to the people at close to their doorsteps and try and see people are not falling sick or detect it early so that it can be treated in a cost-effective manner.
Inpatient hospitalization expenditure in India increased nearly 300% in the last 10 years. Out-of-pocket expenditure for patients is over 60%, which is calculated to push nearly 6 million families into poverty. The government will require 12,000 crore to implement the scheme, with the cost being shared 60-40 by central and state governments.
World capital of hypertension, world capital of diabetes, world capital of heart diseases and cancer. Everywhere in illness, we are on the top in the world. At least I must compliment our Prime Minister. He has a vision to start wellness campaign. We have to watch, we must structure it well, and we must make sure it's implemented in a proper way.
The National Health Protection Scheme is also expected to help the country to move towards universal health coverage, which is one of the UN Sustainable Development Goals till the year 2030. A nation's development is gauged by the health of its population. However, in India, even after 70 years of independence, 80% of population is not covered under any health insurance scheme. Now, Ayushman Bharat will not only boost penetration of insurance coverage, but will also spur investment in the healthcare sector. Reporting from Delhi, with camera person Sudhanshu, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
In Breakfast News, we'll take a very short break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Enter the majestic forecourt of Rashtrapati Bhavan and you'll come across the Jaipur column. A gift to the Viceroy from Savai Madho Singh, the Maharaja of Jaipur, to commemorate the creation of the new capital. The 145-meter high column is crowned with 6 pointed crystal stars on a bronze lotus, and inside the stone shaft runs a steel tube which weighs a little more than 5 tons. The base of the column has text conceived by Lord Irwin and Sir Edwin Lutyens inscribed on it.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries.
Welcome back after the break. Top army commanders will review the regional security architecture and deliberate on key challenges facing the nation, particularly along the borders with China and Pakistan, at a 6-day-long conference that begins from today. The conference will be chaired by Army Chief General Bipin Rawat and will also deliberate on specific issues relating to various frontline formations and explore ways to speed up infrastructure development along the border with China. Important issues that are likely to be discussed are the management of the extent security dynamics, mitigation of future security threats, and the enhancement of combat edge over potential adversaries. Now, major focus of the conference will be to bolster the Army's overall operational preparedness along the nearly 4,000-kilometer long border with China. The Army Commanders Conference is held biannually for important policy decisions. Security situation in Jammu and Kashmir will also be discussed at this meeting. And in the latest diplomatic conflict between India and Pakistan, New Delhi has launched a strong protest after its consular team was prevented from meeting Sikh pilgrims in Pakistan. The Ministry of External Affairs said that Ajay Bisaria, High Commissioner to Pakistan, along with other diplomats, were to visit Gurdwara Panja Sahib at the invitation of the chairman of the Evacuee Trust Property Board to meet the Sikh pilgrims, but they were asked to return back. Pakistani authorities reportedly blocked the Indian High Commission from performing basic consular and protocol duties for Indian citizens. As a result, India launched a strong protest with the Pakistani Foreign Office on Sunday. 1,800 Sikh pilgrims from India had travelled to Pakistan last week to celebrate Baisakhi at the Gurudwara in Rawalpindi. The MEA statement said that India has launched a strong protest with Pakistan against this inexplicable diplomatic discourtesy, pointing out that these incidents constitute a clear violation of the Vienna Convention of 1961, the bilateral protocol to visit religious shrines 1974, and the Code of Conduct of 1992, recently reaffirmed by both the nations. Meanwhile, Pakistan on Sunday issued a statement over denial of consular access to visiting Sikh pilgrims, saying that the cancellation of the meeting was done considering an emotionally charged environment and the possibility of any untoward incident. The latest diplomatic conflicts between India and Pakistan comes a week after both the nations alleged harassment of each other's diplomats in each other's capitals. On to all the international news, and the Donald Trump administration signaled on Sunday that it will impose new sanctions on Russia for supporting the Syrian regime for its alleged deadly chemical attack against its own people. US United Nations Ambassador Nikki Haley said that the US Treasury Department will announce fresh sanctions on Monday. Haley made the revelation on Sunday on channel CBS's Face the Nation. She informed that US Secretary of Treasury Department will be announcing the sanctions on companies that deal with equipment related to Syrian President Bashar al-Assad and chemicals or weapons use. The developments come after the US, France and the UK launched military strikes on Friday night in response to a suspected chemical attacks on Syrian civilians. Haley also repeated a comment that she made on Saturday at an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council in New York that the US was locked and loaded and ready to punish Syria again if it continues using chemical weapons.
You will see that Russian sanctions will be coming down. Secretary Mnuchin will be announcing those on Monday if he hasn't already. And they will go directly to any sort of companies that were dealing with equipment related to Assad and chemical weapons use. And so I think everyone is going to feel it at this point. I think everyone knows that we sent a strong message, and our hope is that they listen to it.
And on to Commonwealth Games, India ended their campaign at the Games with an overall haul of 66 medals. This is their third best performance in the Commonwealth Games history. Here is a report.
Day 11 of the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games saw India winning 7 medals, including 1 gold, 4 silver and 2 bronze. The only gold on the final day of the tournament came in women's singles badminton. The All India finals saw PV Sindhu pitted against Saina Nehwal. Saina won the high-pressure match in straight sets 21-18, 23-21 that lasted an hour. Saina had earlier claimed the singles gold in the 2010 Games. India missed the gold in the men's singles badminton final though. Recently crowned world number 1 Kidambi Srikanth losing in 3 games to Malaysian icon Lee Chong Wei, claiming the silver. In men's doubles also, Satvik Rankireddy and Chirag Shetty claiming a silver, losing to the English pair of Marcus Ellis and Chris Langridge. Another silver came in squash when the duo of Deepika Pallikal Karthik and Joshna Chinnappa lost to their New Zealand challengers in the women's doubles final. The 2 bronze medals of the day came in table tennis. In an all-India affair, Manika Batra and Satyan Gyanashekaran beat Achanta Sharat Kamal and Mohammad Das in 3 games in the mixed doubles match. In the men's singles, Achanta Sharat Kamal defeated Samuel Walker of England for the second bronze. Indian competitors ended their campaign at the Games in 3rd place with 66 medals, including 26 gold, 20 silver and 20 bronze medals. Australia stood first in the medals tally with 198 medals, including 80 gold, 59 silver and 59 bronze, followed by England with 136 medals. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
So India gave its third best performance in the history of the Commonwealth Games this year. So here is a quick comparison of India's performance at the Games since 2002.
India with 26 gold, 20 silver and 20 bronze had a total of 66 medals at the 21st Commonwealth Games and claimed the 3rd spot. This is India's 3rd best performance in the history of the Games. In the 2010 Games in Delhi, India registered its best performance in the event so far. In the Delhi Games, India bagged 38 gold, 27 silver and 36 bronze medals. Its medal tally at the end of the Games stood at 101 and it was the 2nd on the list of winners. In the Manchester Games in 2002, India bagged 30 gold, 22 silver and 17 bronze medals. Its total tally was 69 and stood 4th on the medals list. In the 2014 Games in Glasgow, India bagged 15 gold, 30 silver and 19 bronze medals. With a total of 64 medals, it stood 5th on the medals tally at the 20th Commonwealth Games. India bettered its performance at Glasgow at the just concluded Gold Coast Games. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And the Indian team's performance has been hailed at the Commonwealth Games. President Ramnath Kovind took to Twitter to congratulate the Indian contingent for finishing 3rd in the medals tally. He said that the athletes have inspired millions with their performance. Prime Minister Modi also congratulated the Indian team members in a series of tweets. He said, and I quote him now, "Every athlete who represented India at the 2018 Commonwealth Games inspires us. Their life stories illustrate the power of a dedication and a never-say-die attitude that made them overcome countless hurdles to attain the heights of success they did at the Commonwealth Games. I hope India's success at the 2018 Commonwealth Games motivates more youngsters to pursue sports and creates a larger awareness on the importance of fitness in everyone's lives. On our part, we in the government are doing everything possible to strengthen the Fit India movement, the Prime Minister said in a series of tweets.
जिस तरह से भारतीय खिलाड़ियों ने प्रदर्शन करा, जिस जोश और जज्बे के साथ वे खेले, उन्होंने पूरे भारतवर्ष को गौरवान्वित कर दिया। हर जगह, हर स्टेडियम में तिरंगा लहरा रहा था, राष्ट्रगान बज रहा था। जिस तरह से खेलो इंडिया स्कूल गेम्स में जो हमने माहौल दिया, वो किसी राष्ट्रमंडल खेल से कम नहीं है और वो हम हर स्कूल बच्चे को हर साल देंगे और वहाँ से जो खिलाड़ी निकलेंगे वो एक अलग स्तर के होंगे। सभी खिलाड़ियों को मैं बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूँ, लेकिन ख़ास तौर से आज पूरे भारतवर्ष को, हर भारतीय को जिन्होंने इन खिलाड़ियों का समर्थन करा। अगर सही हम सबका समर्थन रहा तो आगे 2024 और 2028 ओलंपिक्स में बहुत पदक आएंगे और हम पदकों की गिनती तभी करेंगे।
And curtains were drawn on the 21st Commonwealth Games at Gold Coast, Australia on Sunday evening with a colourful ceremony. Legendary boxer MC Mary Kom led Indian delegation carrying tricolour. So we leave you with these colourful visuals. Thanks so much for watching.